Today we'll be installing a JK heavy duty cross member with link mounts by Artec Industries. We will need for this install a 3/4 inch wrench, a 18mm socket, a 9/16 socket, and then also a 16mm socket, and then your preferred drive and ratchet. Optional is a drill if needed. When removing your crossmember in your Jeep, you will need to remove 5 bolts that connect, like skid plates if you do have them. In my case, I do, so I have a Rubicon edition. So you'll have to remove this bolt, that bolt right there, this one over here, and then the 2 bolts right there on your gas tank skid, and this one is going to be your 18mm. I also did remove the skid that was connected right there, and this one as well, just to remove the skids completely so they are out of the way and I don't have to like shimmy anything. Now once you remove these 5 bolts that connect to the cross member and the 2 on the skid over there, you will then remove those 3 that were inside the cross member. By this time you'll be caught up to me and where I'm at, and this is where you will be getting your 18mm socket that goes on there, and then your 3/4 closed end box wrench, and on the other side. And so for these, you will have to put a little bit of force to get them out. So there's going to be 2 bolts right here, and there's going to be also 2 bolts on the other side. Just remember, the transmission probably won't fall, but also try to support it just in case, because you never know what can happen while you're installing stuff. Now continuing on, you will have 3 16mm bolts in these locations, one right here, one right here, and one right there. This is where having a 16mm deep socket will come in handy. When you get to the passenger side, this is where it's going to be a little bit difficult to get these bolts out, because they're kind of in an awkward position if you have the factory skids. I've learned that instead of doing it with the closed end, I use the open end because it's a little bit better to for maneuverability up in there. And just remember, if your Jeep is older like mine's 5 years old. I got it 2013 today. It's 2018 now. It's gonna be a little bit stuck to get it out of here. So remember, spray some penetrating oil, some WD-40 on it, and it'll probably make it a little bit smoother for it to come out. Also remember, the factory skid does come painted for you, while the Artec Industries does not. So I chose to paint mine by personally. I just got some spray paint and some clear coat from Home Depot and did it myself, because I don't see spending $60+ to get it powder coated and it's underneath the Jeep. So I'd rather just buy something to touch up really quick. So once you finally got your stock cross member removed, now you can look at basically what Jeep gives you and then what Artec is giving you. This is 1/4 inch steel, and this is just flimsy sheet metal, probably 3 gauge if I'm not mistaken. So you're basically paying for top quality by Artec, and they give you basically what you pay for. Has been completely removed and all your bolts are done. Go ahead and do what you want with prepping your cross member for going reinstallation, and then follow the same steps that you did going forward, but backwards. While installing the cross member, I ran into an issue. When you took out the previous cross member, the transmission will drop a little. So it's also very good to have something that's able to support it up and jack it up a little bit as you're putting the cross member on, because if you don't, it's going to be really difficult to get these 4 bolts, 2 on this side and then the 2 on the passenger side, in. There will be some rub eventually with the exhaust that I'll have to attend to later. But other than that, the install went very smooth. Just make sure you retighten everything. I actually don't remember what the torque specs were for all these bolts, but since my cross member's on, I'm gonna snug them up and reread what I need to tighten these to. But it is better to have a second set of hands, because it is kind of a pain to get put back in, because these brackets are really snug, and then if you're doing it by yourself, you'll need at least another jack, and then you'll just have to be able to get into some weird wiggle room spaces and be very maneuverable.